Once upon a time, in a sunny green pond, happy frogs leaped and sang all day. They lived freely, without worries, under the warm and cheerful sky. But one day, some frogs began to whisper. "We have no king," said one. "Every kingdom needs a ruler." The others nodded, thinking it might be exciting. So the frogs lifted their voices to the sky. "Please, mighty gods, send us a king. Someone to lead us and keep order in our pond." Sky rumbled. The frogs watched in amazement as the clouds moved and the wind whispered through the reeds. Something big was about to happen. With a mighty splash, a large wooden log dropped into the pond. "Our king," croaked the frogs. But the log only floated, quiet and still. At first, they were scared. They hid behind lily pads. But soon, one brave frog hopped closer and touched the log. It didn't move at all.
"Ha! Ha!"
"Our king is lazy," laughed the frogs. They climbed, jumped, and played on the log, calling it King Log, the sleepy ruler. Soon, the frogs stopped respecting the log. They made fun of it, hopping over their king and splashing in circles of laughter. "This king does nothing," said a frog angrily. "We need a strong ruler who can make us behave." The others nodded and shouted together, "Yes. A real king." FSO once again, the frogs cried to the sky, "Please send us a powerful king, one who will rule us properly." They didn't know what they were asking for. Thunder boomed. Lightning flashed. The frogs trembled.
"Oh no,"
whispered one. "Did we make the gods angry?" They watched as the sky grew darker. Suddenly, a great white stork swooped down. "Behold your new king," boomed the wind. The frogs gasped, bowing low before the tall, sharp-beaked bird. The frogs cheered. "At last, a real king," they croaked. The stork fluffed his feathers proudly and looked around his new pond kingdom. At first, the new king seemed kind. He listened to the frogs and promised to keep the pond peaceful. Everyone felt safe again, for now. But one day, while no one watched, the stork suddenly gobbled up a frog.
"Oh no,"
croaked the others. What kind of king eats his own subjects? Panic spread through the pond. The frogs hid behind tall reeds and rocks, whispering fearfully. Their mighty king had become their worst nightmare. King Stork strutted about, eating whenever he pleased. "This pond is mine," he squawked. The frogs dared not speak or move without his permission. Day after day, the frogs grew sadder. "We only wanted a ruler," they whispered. "Now we have no peace, no songs, and no friends left." Finally, one brave little frog looked up again. "Dear gods," it cried, "please take our cruel king away. We've learned our lesson." The skies cleared. The stork spread his wings and flew away forever. The frogs cheered and hugged, grateful for peace at last. The frogs decided to take care of their pond themselves. They cleaned the water, cleared the weeds, and worked together, smiling as their beautiful home sparkled again. Little tadpoles wiggled and swam while their parents watched proudly. "We're safe again," croaked the mother frog. Laughter echoed across the pond as joy returned. Birds soared high above, singing softly. The frogs watched in peace. "The sky feels friendly again," said one, remembering when their king had darkened it with fear. The frogs met to talk about their future. "We don't need a king," said one wisely. "We just need to listen to each other and share kindness." They chose a few wise elders to guide them kindly. "No crowns, no kings," said the leader. "Only caring hearts will keep our pond peaceful forever." The frogs began to share their food. "When we share, no one goes hungry," said a little frog. Together they learned that kindness made life happier for everyone. Every evening, the older frogs told stories to the tadpoles. "Be happy with what you have," they said. "Wishing for power can bring trouble instead." Teacher Frog croaked loudly, "Never wish for a king if you can be free." The little frogs giggled, learning that wisdom is better than ruling others. When night came, the frogs rested peacefully. The pond was quiet, the moon smiled down, and all hearts were calm and thankful for their freedom. A new morning dawned, golden and warm. The frogs stretched and yawned happily. A fresh day without fear, they croaked, hopping into the sunshine. The frogs planted flowers to decorate their pond. Bees buzzed around, and butterflies danced. The whole pond became colorful and full of happy life again. A dragonfly got stuck in the reeds. The frogs jumped in to help. Together they freed her, learning how good it feels to help others in need. Raindrops fell and made ripples on the pond. The frogs laughed, leaping from puddle to puddle, celebrating nature's song of joy and fresh beginnings. After the rain, a rainbow stretched across the sky. "Look," shouted a little frog. "It's our bridge of peace." The frogs smiled under its bright colors. At sunset, the frogs watched the sky turn orange and gold. "Peace is the best gift," whispered one. They sat quietly, enjoying the beauty around them. The frogs decided to celebrate their freedom. They decorated lily pads with flowers, sang songs, and danced. It became the happiest day the pond had ever seen. "Friendship is our crown," said one frog, giving a heart-shaped leaf to another. The frogs learned that love and kindness were better than any royal power. Together, the frogs drew a heart in the soft mud. "This is our promise," they said, "to care for our home and for one another." Under the twinkling stars, Grandpa Frog told stories. "Remember," he said, "it's better to live free and kind than to serve a cruel king." Everyone nodded quietly. As morning mist rose, the frogs awoke full of hope. The pond shimmered, and they croaked together, "This is our home, and we will protect it." When a turtle needed help, the frogs worked together to carry food on lily pads. "Teamwork makes everything easier," laughed the turtle gratefully. A creative frog painted the beautiful pond on a leaf. "This is our story," she said proudly, "a story of learning, freedom, and friendship." Soon, other animals came to listen. The frogs told their tale, teaching everyone that wishing for power can sometimes bring danger instead of happiness. The forest glowed with sunlight and laughter. The frogs and their friends promised to live in peace, protecting the pond and each other forever. Rain returned, soft and cool. The frogs huddled under big leaves, giggling as raindrops fell around them. "Our pond is alive and happy again," they croaked. A butterfly landed softly beside a frog. "We all belong here," she said. The frogs smiled, knowing their pond was a safe home for everyone. Fireflies danced around the frogs, lighting up the night like stars. The frogs sang a gentle song of freedom that echoed across the peaceful pond. As the sun rose, golden light touched the pond. Every creature felt thankful. "We are free, and that's the best kind of happiness," said the frogs. And so, the frogs lived happily ever after. They learned that freedom, kindness, and wisdom shine brighter than any crown. The pond glowed with peace forever.